You have been invisible for longer than you planned. Not by accident, not because you were not ready, not because you did something wrong, but because the one who formed your gifts before you were born has not yet spoken the word that will release you. Chosen one, you have been carrying something inside you for years, a capacity, a depth, a way of seeing the world that others have not yet understood. And you have been waiting for the room where it finally makes sense. Waiting for the invitation that has not arrived, waiting in the quiet, wondering if the gifts you feel inside you are real or just the story you have been telling yourself. To survive the hiddenness. Tonight I want to tell you something about the place you are in, something you were not able to hear until right now. You were not supposed to see this today, not as a warning, as a wonder. You did not plan to stop here. You did not sit down tonight thinking, tonight I will finally understand why I have been invisible for so long. And yet here you are, chosen one. This is not a coincidence. This is not the algorithm. This is a divine interruption in an ordinary night. And the fact that you are still here, that something in you did not scroll past, is itself a message. The one who concealed your gifts is the same one who just interrupted your evening to remind you why they were concealed. I want to speak to something specific right now, the weight of being gifted but unseen, because it is a very particular kind of pain. It is not the pain of someone who has nothing to offer. It is the pain of someone who has something real, something genuine, something given by God, and has watched it go unrecognized for longer than they know how to explain. Chosen one, you have sat in rooms where lesser versions of what you carry were celebrated. You have watched people step into platforms that were not built for their depth, while something deeper in you waited in the wings. You have had moments where you almost said it, almost showed it, almost stepped forward, and something stopped you. Maybe wisdom, maybe fear, maybe the quiet knowing that the moment was not right. And you retreated, back into the shadow, back into the waiting, back into the invisible season that has become your home for longer than you expected. I know what that costs. I know the specific grief of carrying something real and having no place to put it yet. There are gifts in you that no audience has witnessed. There are words you have not yet spoken through the microphone of your calling. There are solutions inside you that the problems of this world have not yet met. There is a quality of presence, of wisdom, of creativity, a specific grace that was woven into you before the foundations of the world, that is still waiting for its moment. Chosen one, the gift is real. You are not imagining it. You are not inflating your own sense of importance. You are not being arrogant when you sense that what is inside you is significant. You are being accurate. The gift is real. The calling is real. The season of hiddenness is real. And they are not contradictions. They are the same story. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, the prophet speaks with a voice that sounds like his own, but carries something far larger than autobiography. He says this, "He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver." Chosen one. Read that phrase again, concealed me. This is not the language of abandonment. This is not the language of rejection. This is the language of intentional concealment. The arrow does not choose the quiver. The archer places it there with purpose, with timing, with the specific knowledge of what that arrow is about to be released into. An arrow in a quiver is not a failed arrow. It is a ready arrow that has not yet been released. God did not conceal you because your gifts are not real. God concealed you because what He is about to release you into is too important to rush. Here is what the arrow does not know. While it is hidden in the quiver, it does not know the target. It does not know the distance. It does not know the wind speed or the moment of release. It only knows this: I was made for flight. I was polished for a purpose. I am ready in a way I cannot fully prove until I am released. Chosen one, you do not need to know the target to know you were made for flight. You do not need to see the platform to know the gift is real. You do not need to understand the timing to trust the one who holds you. The arrow is at its most dangerous to the enemy in the moment just before release. Not because it has moved yet, but because it is fully ready. You are ready. You have been prepared. In the hidden place where no one could interfere with the process. Chosen one. If something in these first few minutes has named something you have been carrying quietly for longer than you can say, if something in your chest just recognized itself in the arrow hidden in the quiver, I want you to do something right now. In the comments below, type these words: I am hidden but not forgotten. Not as desperation, not as a cry for help. Type it as a declaration to the spiritual realm around you. Type it as a statement of identity from a soul who finally has a name for what they have been living. Because naming it changes something. Naming it draws a line in the spiritual atmosphere, and there is far more to say about where you are going from here. C.S. Lewis once described the experience of being shaped by God with an image that has stayed with readers for generations. He wrote this in Mere Christianity. Imagine yourself as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. At first, perhaps you can understand what he is doing. He is getting the drains right and stopping the leaks in the roof. But presently he starts knocking the house about in a way that hurts abominably and does not seem to make any sense. What on earth is he up to? The explanation is that he is building quite a different house from the one you thought of. Chosen one. A different house from the one you thought of? You looked at your life and made a reasonable estimate. This gift, this calling, this shape of impact, you imagined it going somewhere recognizable. Somewhere you could see from where you stand. And what God is building is something so much larger that it does not fit into the picture you drew for yourself. The renovation hurts, not because it is going wrong, it is because it is going bigger. Larger things take longer to build. The psalmist says this: whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Chosen one. When you are in the shadow of something, it means you are very close to it, not far from it. Close? The shadow of the Almighty is not exile, it is proximity. The hiding place is not a place of divine absence, it is a place of divine nearness. The reason you cannot see clearly in this season is not because God has turned his face away. It is because you are so close to him that the fullness of what he is doing has not yet come into focus. You are not in the dark, you are in the shadow. And there is a profound difference between those two things. I want to tell you what happens to the arrow in the quiver. While it is concealed, while it is waiting, while the world does not know it is there, it is being polished. Every rough edge that would cause the arrow to veer off course is being smoothed in the hiding. Every inconsistency that would reduce the arrow's accuracy is being refined in the invisible season. The friction of the quiver is not punishment. It is the final stage of precision engineering. Chosen one. The things that have been difficult in your hidden season, the trials that seem to have no audience, the growth that happened with no applause, the lessons that cost you something, in a room where no one was watching, none of it was wasted. That was the polishing process. The Isaiah 49 process. The turning of a raw gift into a polished arrow. And it cannot be hurried, because accuracy matters more than speed. When the target is eternal, chosen one. Can I tell you something about why this season feels so confusing? It is not because God is silent. It is because you are standing inside the thing being built. When you are inside a building that is under construction, you cannot see the architectural vision. You can only see the scaffolding, the exposed beams, the dust, the noise, the places where things have been torn down to make room for something larger. From the inside, construction looks like chaos. From the architect's perspective, it looks exactly like the plan. God does not show you the blueprint of yourself while He is still building, not because the plan is unclear, but because seeing the whole plan at once would overwhelm the part of you that still needs to walk through it, step by step. What feels like confusion in your hidden season is actually precision. The architect knows exactly what he is doing. I want to stay here for a moment with the specific pain of the gifted one in hiding, because it is not the same as ordinary waiting. Ordinary waiting says, I do not have what I need yet. The gifted one's waiting says, I have what others need, but no one has asked for it yet. That is a different kind of loneliness, chosen one. You have sat with insight that no one has requested. You have walked through experiences that have built wisdom that no one has invited you to share. You have developed a voice, a real God-given voice shaped by suffering, and it is still waiting for the ears it was created for. I know what it feels like to wonder if the gift will outlast the hiding. I know what it feels like to watch the waiting stretch beyond what faith feels comfortable holding. But hear this, your gift has not expired. A polished arrow does not dull with waiting. It does not lose its edge in the quiver. It waits sharp, ready, aimed by the one who knows the target. Your gift is not wasting, it is waiting. And there is a profound holiness to that difference. Let me speak this over you with authority tonight. Your hiding is not your ending. The invisibility is not the verdict. The closed doors were not the final answer. The silence was not God saying no. The silence was God saying not yet. And not yet is one of the most faithful things a good father can say. Chosen one, you are not in the hiding place because you fail. You are in the hiding place because you matter too much to be released before the moment is prepared. The world was not ready for you yet. The place you are being sent into was not ready yet. The version of you that is needed there was not finished yet. But something is shifting. And the reason you are watching this tonight is part of that shift. This is not the first time God has done this. The hiding place is not a new strategy. It is one of the oldest patterns in the story of the people He chooses. And when you see how many times He has hidden His most significant servants before releasing them into their greatest impact, something in you will stop apologizing for the length of your invisible season, because you will recognize it for what it is, the pattern of the hidden ones, and you are not outside of it. You are in the middle of it, and I need you to stay with me for what comes next, because the three names I am about to say have been where you are, and none of them knew how it was going to end while they were living through it. See, S. Lewis understood something about the relationship between suffering and significance. He wrote these words, which have quietly changed the way countless people understand their own hard seasons. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Chosen one. Ordinary people. Lewis did not say gifted people. He did not say the already celebrated or the already visible. He said ordinary. The extraordinary destiny does not begin with extraordinary visibility. It begins with ordinary people who are willing to let the hardship do its work. The hiding is not happening to you despite your calling. The hiding is happening because of it. There is a story in the first book of Samuel that should change the way you understand your invisible season. The prophet Samuel came to the house of Jesse to anoint the next king of Israel. Jesse lined up his sons, 7 of them, the older ones, the taller ones, the more impressive ones, and God said no to every single one. Samuel turned to Jesse and said, "Are these all the sons you have?" And Jesse the father almost forgot to mention, there is still the youngest. He tends the sheep. He was in the field. He was not in the room. He was overlooked, even at his own family ceremony. Chosen one. God chose David before Jesse remembered to introduce him, before the ceremony had a place for him, before the invitation went out to include him. God already knew his name. God already knew his heart. And while everyone else was in the room being evaluated, David was in the field being prepared. The Lord looks at the heart, and the heart of the hidden one was already being shaped for the throne, while the throne was still being offered to the ones who were visible. Moses spent 40 years in the palace, educated, powerful, visible, and then he spent 40 years in the desert, unknown, tending sheep, a stranger in a land that was not his own. 40 years. Chosen one. When God finally appeared to Moses in the burning bush, when the hiding season ended and the mission began, Moses was 80 years old. The man who led the largest liberation movement in the history of the ancient world was hidden for half a lifetime before he was released. And what happened in Midian was not wasted. The desert taught Moses things that the palace never could. It taught him the land he would one day lead his people through. It taught him the patience that 40 years of royal privilege had not produced in him. It humbled him into the shape of a leader who would not take credit for what only God could do. The longest hiding produces the largest impact, not always, but often enough that it is worth examining your own hiding with more curiosity and less despair. Chosen one, before I go further, pause for just a moment. Think of the specific season you are in right now, the specific thing you have been waiting for, the specific gift that has not yet found its moment. Hold that in your mind, because the next name I am going to say was waiting for something even longer. Paul spent 3 years in Arabia after his encounter on the road to Damascus, after the blinding light, after the voice from heaven, after the most dramatic conversion in the New Testament. 3 years, hidden, away from Jerusalem, away from the apostles, away from the ministry he had been called into. 3 years, chosen one. The man who would write 2/3 of the New Testament, the man whose theology would shape the church for 2,000 years, spent 3 years in hiddenness between his calling and his deployment. The greatest revelation often requires the deepest preparation. The scope of what God places within you determines the depth of the hidden season He leads you through. And if your hiding has been long, if it has been longer than you can easily explain to the people around you, that is not evidence of abandonment. It is evidence of magnitude. Here is something that the hidden ones rarely understand about why the hiding is necessary. What you carry is fragile at the wrong stage of its development. Not because you are fragile, because premature exposure destroys things that were only safe inside the protected place. Chosen one. Think of what happens when you expose a developing photograph to light too early. The image dissolves. What was forming in the darkness, what was almost visible, is erased by premature exposure. The gift you are carrying right now is in a stage of its development where premature visibility would damage what it is becoming. God is not keeping you hidden out of neglect. God is keeping you hidden because He knows what early exposure would cost, what is being formed in you. The day you are released will be neither early nor late. It will be exactly the appointed moment, the moment when what has been formed in you is strong enough to survive the light. Chosen one. If you have stayed with this message until now, if something in the pattern of the hidden ones has stirred, something that has been quietly aching in you, I want you to do something right now. In the comments, type these words: I am ready. Not as a performance, not as pressure on yourself to have it all figured out. Type it as a declaration of trust, as a statement that says, whatever God is building in me, I am ready for the next stage of the process. Because readiness is not about having arrived. Readiness is about being willing. And if you are still here, still listening, you are already more ready than you know. C.S. Lewis, writing in Letters to Malcolm, said something that quietly reframes the experience of the hidden season. He wrote, "Nothing that has not died will be resurrected. Chosen one, let that land slowly. Nothing that has not died will be resurrected. There is something in you that had to die in order for what is coming to be born. The version of you that needed the platform to feel valid, that had to die. The dependence on external recognition to know whether the gift was real, that had to die. The timeline you constructed for yourself, the one that said, by this age I should have reached, that had to die. Not because those things were wrong, but because resurrection requires death, and what God is about to raise up in you could not have come from the version of you that existed before the hiding. What died in the hiding season was not lost through failure. It is the first stage of a resurrection that is going to be impossible to argue with. Jesus said this in the Sermon on the Mount, "Go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." Your Father sees what is done in secret. Chosen one, the growth you experience in hiding, God saw. The prayers you prayed when no one else was listening, God heard them. The choices you made in integrity, when no one would have known if you had made a different choice, God noted them. The way you treated people when there was no platform to prove anything, God was watching. The faithfulness in the small things, the unseen things, the things that cost you something. In a room where no applause would come, your Father was in that room. He has been in every room where you were doing the hidden work. And the reward that comes from that kind of seeing is not the same as the reward that comes from public performance. It is deeper. It is more permanent. It carries the weight of heaven's witness. Let me tell you what is happening in your hiding that you cannot yet see. Your capacity is increasing. Your character is being aligned with the magnitude of what is coming. Because gifting without character is a building without a foundation. The platform you are being prepared for requires a version of you that can handle what comes with it. The favor, the scrutiny, the weight of influence, the responsibility of being trusted by the people who will be transformed by what you carry. Chosen one. God is not delaying your platform because He forgot you. He is delaying it because He loves you enough to make sure the version of you that steps into it is someone who can steward it well. The refining in the hiding is an act of mercy. It is God protecting you from the version of impact you would have had before you were ready for it. Here is something that is rarely said about the experience of the gifted one in hiding. The greater the gift, the sharper the contrast becomes. The more specific the calling, the more sharply the wrong rooms feel wrong. You are not more sensitive than others. You are more calibrated, chosen one. You know the feeling. You are scrolling on a quiet Thursday evening, and you see someone else step into the exact space you have been quietly preparing yourself for. The exact kind of work, the exact kind of voice, the exact territory where your gift was designed to land. And something in your chest does something complicated. It is not quite jealousy. It is not quite sadness. It is something closer to recognition. That should have been the room where your gift was asked for, and it was not. Your gifts were designed with such precision for a specific purpose that everything that is not that purpose registers as wrong on a level that others do not experience. When you walk into a room where your gifts are not being used, not merely unused, but actively unrequested. You feel it in a way that someone carrying a smaller gift does not. That is not pride. That is calibration. The arrow knows it was not made to stay in the quiver. The discomfort of the hiding is the gift telling you what it was made for. Do not silence it. Do not shame it. Listen to it. It is the most honest thing you carry. I want to offer you a reframe that might change how you feel about this entire season. You are not being forgotten. You are being protected. There are rooms that exist right now that are not safe for what you are carrying. Environments that would expose the gift before it can defend itself. Platforms that would elevate you before the foundation beneath you is strong enough to hold the weight of what would come with them. Audiences that would consume what you carry before you have learned how to steward the relationship between the gift and the people it serves. Chosen one. The hiddenness is a guardrail. It is God saying, not yet. Not because you are unready, but because the world you are being sent into is not yet ready. The target is still being prepared, and the arrow does not leave the quiver until the target and the timing align. I want to be honest with you about something. The enemy knows what is in you. He has known it longer than you have, and his primary strategy against the gifted one in hiding is not destruction, it is impatience. He will use the pain of invisibility to push you into premature self-exposure. He will whisper that the hiding has gone on too long, that God has forgotten, that the only way forward is to take matters into your own hands, to manufacture your own platform, to force your own timing, to make yourself visible before you are sent. Chosen one. Premature self-exposure is one of the most effective ways to neutralize a significant gift, because what is released before it is ready cannot do the damage to darkness that it was designed to do. Do not let impatience finish what the enemy could not accomplish through opposition. Stay in the quiver until the archer releases you. Let me name the lie and replace it with truth. The lie says, the length of your hiding is evidence of your failure. The truth says, the length of your hiding reflects the significance of your preparation. The lie says, you should be further along by now. The truth says, you are exactly where your story requires you to be. The lie says, the ones who are visible must be more chosen than you. The truth says, visibility is not the measure of calling. Faithfulness in the hidden place is. Chosen one. The hidden season is not a punishment. It is a preparation. It is not a verdict. It is a process. It is not the end of your story. It is the deepest chapter of your story, the one that makes everything that comes after it make sense. The prophet Habakkuk received a word from God that was not for him alone. It was for the ones who are still waiting. God said, the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Chosen one. The appointed time, not a random time, not a time determined by your anxiety or your impatience or your comparison with others. An appointed time, set before you were born, written into the architecture of your story before you took your first breath. The vision you carry, the gift, the calling, the thing you know you were made for, has an appointed time. And an appointed time does not necessarily mean a distant time. It means precise. It does not mean comfortable. It means certain. And if it seems slow, if the waiting has stretched beyond what you could have planned for, God says something remarkable. Wait for it, because it is coming, and it will not delay. Not one moment past the appointed time. I want to tell you why you are watching this today. Not in a vague, general way, in the specific, intentional way that I believe is true. You did not find this message. This message found you. At the exact moment when your hiding has gone on long enough for a very specific thing to be true about you, you are ready. You may not be ready for the spotlight. You may not be ready for the platform, but you are ready for the next stage of what God is building. Chosen one. The fact that this message resonated with something in you, that something in the first few minutes named what you have been living, is not a coincidence. It is a sign that the appointed time is in motion, a sign that the quiver is being lifted, a sign that the one who polished you knows the target is ready. You did not see this today by accident. You saw this because the season is shifting, and the shift begins not with a platform. It begins with a knowing. The knowing that you are not forgotten. The knowing that the hiding had a purpose. The knowing that what has been built in you in the invisible place is exactly what the next chapter requires. Let me speak this over you with the authority of everything this message has been building toward. Chosen one. You are not being called into hiding. You are being called into readiness. The hiding was the preparation. The readiness is the response. And readiness does not look like having all the answers. It does not look like having the platform already built. It does not look like having no fear. Readiness looks like this: a willingness to be released when the archer decides the moment is right, an openness to step out of the shadow when the light is ready to receive what you carry, a trust in the one who concealed you, trusting that the same hands that placed you in the quiver will not release you carelessly. You have been hidden. You have been prepared. You have been polished through seasons that had no audience and no applause, yet did some of the most important work of your entire journey. And the call out of hiding is not a call to perform. It is a call to be who you have been becoming. In the hidden place, in the quiet, in the years that no one saw, the gifted one in hiding is not hidden forever. The arrow does not stay in the quiver. The appointed time is near, and you were not supposed to see this today. And yet here you are, chosen one. Close your eyes if you can. Take a slow breath and let these words be your own. Father, I have been carrying something I do not fully understand yet. A gifting, a calling, a knowing that I was made for something more than what is visible right now. And I have wondered more times than I can count if the hiding would ever end, if the appointed time would ever come, if what I carry would ever find the place it was made for. Tonight I choose to release the weight of the timeline. Tonight I lay down the comparison. Tonight I let go of the version of my story that said I should be further along by now, and I receive what you have been doing in me, in the hidden place. I receive the refining, the polishing, and the deepening that had no audience. I trust you with the appointed time. I trust you with the moment of release. And until that moment comes, in whatever form it takes, in whatever room opens, I will stay faithful. I will stay hidden in you. I will not let impatience make me reach for what you have not yet released. Because the arrow that waits for the archer lands exactly where it was made to land. In the name of Jesus, Amen. Chosen one. You were always going to be found, not by the crowd, not by the platform, not by the algorithm, by the one who hid you, the one who polished you, the one who has been watching every unseen moment of your invisible season, with the attentiveness of a father who does not miss a single thing. His child does in secret. You were seen when no one else was looking. You were known when no one else asked. You were chosen before the ceremony had room for you. And the appointed time is not a question of whether, it is only a question of when. And when it comes, when the quiver is lifted and the arrow is released, the target will know it. The world you are sent into will feel it, and you will finally understand why the hiding took as long as it did. because you will see what it produced. You are always going to be found. You are the gifted one in hiding, and the hiding is almost over. Go in peace. You are seen. You are prepared. You are loved.